So today we are at the Maternal and Infant Health Summit where we're going to discuss all things maternal health. But as we all know, maternal health actually goes beyond pregnancy, right? We focus so much on the pregnancy, but we actually need to know what it's like to be a well woman beyond pregnancy. So I have Angelica Talan and Amanda Rodriguez, and I want you ladies to tell me a little bit about yourselves, and we're going to chit chat a bit about what it's like to be a well-rounded woman, a well woman beyond pregnancy. Okay, go ahead.
That sounds great. Hello, thank you.
Hello.
My name is Angelica Talan, and I publish two DC area blogs. One is called Angelica in the City, and the other one is called Clarendon Moms.
My name is Amanda Rodriguez, and the blog that I write is called Dude Mom. It's just a fun and funny take on raising three sons. I have three sons, and they are currently 18, 14, and 11. So.
Oh my God, girl, that's a lot. That's a true boy mom right there. So we're gonna jump right into it, and we want to talk about. I want to ask, and both of you can take whoever one starts first. What does the term "a well woman" mean to you? You want to go?
Sure. To me, I think well woman means that you are taking steps to care for all elements of your health, so your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, and especially when it comes to motherhood, I think a lot of those things get pushed to the side because we're focusing so much on the health and wellness of our children that we don't always make the right choices or put ourselves first in a lot of situations. So taking care of all of those elements, they all have to be working together, me time, relationship time, kid time, all of that, and then taking care of your physical as well. So.
I agree with Amanda. I think that being a well woman means that you put a priority on your own health, whether that's mental or physical, before you place the wellness idea onto your children. And for my own personal experience, I didn't learn that until recently, where I was on an airplane ride and I learned that you should probably take the mask and put it on yourself first before helping others. So I kind of apply that to becoming more of a well mom and a well woman.
Okay, so we all know, we all just shared and affirmed for some people that it's important to take care of yourselves, right? But I know sometimes beyond just hearing that, I want to share some more tangible practices. I want to ask you all, how do you navigate your health care of holistic wellness beyond maternal care? Like, what does that look like for you? Is it a routine? Is it something that you do? Like, what are some things that you can share with the moms watching?
I'll start. I think, like Angelica said, this is something that I didn't learn until my kids were a little bit older. And it usually takes some sort of an experience where you're like a wake-up call. Like, I really need to focus on what I'm doing to sort of make sure that I am being healthy enough to take care of my kids. So for me, it has a lot to do with like weight gain and just physical fitness. And I was always like, I can't go to the gym. I don't want to invest in that type of time for myself. But when I started doing that, I started to realize that my physical got better. I felt better overall. My emotional wellness was better mentally, and then just like taking that time to give to myself. So for me, one of the things that I like to do is make sure that I put my fitness, like, it's easy to say I'm not going to the gym this morning, but I try to make sure that I fit that in at least a few times a week because I always notice that I feel better. And also I think that it has an impact on my children. I didn't learn that growing up. My family wasn't like super physically fit or active or anything like that, but I want my children to be. So I think we sort of reflect on each other that way. They're very athletic, they're into sports, which encourages me. And then I like to show them that I'm doing those things long-term to care for myself as well. So,
I definitely take a mind-body approach to it. I suffered from postpartum depression with my second child and didn't realize I was going through that until he was 3 months old. And there was a moment where I just did not want to get out of bed. I could hear him crying, and I did not have the energy, and I didn't know what was going on. So now I realize it's important to take breaks. It's important to be able to condition yourself to ask for help. I never asked for help. I grew up with a very perfectionist mother, and I wanted to be her. And I realize now you have to meditate a little bit. You've got to take that yoga class. And yeah, we're going to all gain weight from giving birth. I certainly gained 65 pounds with each pregnancy. And I feel like if you get out and you exercise, that can also relax your mind a little bit and bring you back to normal, whatever your normal is.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a great point. A lot of us come from, moms who may not necessarily know how to ask for help. So we're sort of conditioned to raise our children the same way. And beyond, it actually goes to the next question, something that you, Amanda, touched on. And you just said you want to show your kids that it's okay to take breaks. And that's healthy practice. And we know healthy practice comes from generations. You build these healthy practices. So what are some lessons about health and wellness that you are teaching your kids, and whether it's a routine that you guys do, or if it's like you just mentioned, a lifestyle that you have where they can learn and say, hey, this is what mom does and gives me a new understanding about health?
Well, thank you for asking that question, because after I realized I was going through postpartum depression, I started going to the gym 5 days a week, so much that both of my children thought that I worked there. So people would ask, what does your mom do? And they'd say, oh, I think she works at the gym. And so now all four of us, my husband, myself, and both of my children are ambassadors for the new St. James complex in Springfield, Virginia. Oh, and we go there daily. We exercise together as a family, and I try to kind of educate them that we can have fun. This is not all about being skinny or in shape. It's about doing things together as a family and building a connection with each other. And to stay active that way makes them feel like we are bonded with, with their parents. And I really try to stress the importance of just connecting through activity. We do a lot of nature walks, and we share a lot of what's going on in our minds when we're biking and hiking, boating, kayaking. So I try to make it fun so that they understand that it's kind of tied to your mental health as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we do a lot of active things. Like I mentioned, my kids are very active in sports. My husband and I both work out. So that's one thing that we do. But I also like to focus on teaching them healthy eating habits. Okay. About how to, fill a healthy plate with nutritional items, how to eat until you're full, not until your plate is clean, which is something I grew up learning. You got to eat all that food. But I found myself overeating a lot in that situation. So teaching them to sort of read their body a little bit better and fill it with things that are healthy and filling. And then another thing that I think, especially as you get into having teenagers, is teaching them about talking about their mental health, sharing things that are on their mind, really having open dialogue between myself and them and their father about things that they're experiencing at school, thoughts that they're having, struggles that they're having. So I think it takes a little bit extra to get that mental health thing under control for especially as they get a little bit older, like keeping those lines open. But that's something that we have dinner together as well, so that's a good time for us to sit down and really reconnect and talk about all of those things that they may be struggling with, and just as a mom at home, you may not know some of those things that they're struggling with. So,
and I think those are great answers, because again, when you ask these health questions, you're thinking about physical health, and it's time that we have these conversations that health is overall, especially with this panel called Well Women Raise Well Children. So these are great conversations, and you guys are leading to my next question of mental health. You mentioned about having postpartum depression. Do you guys have one or two ways that you all practice, especially as seasoned moms now, experienced moms, that you practice mental health that tackle the isolation, the stress that comes with motherhood? And even if it's not now, maybe when you first became a mom, what that looked like?
So I can say for me, it sort of is where the birth of my blog came from. Okay. When I had my third son, I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. I left my job teaching, and so I didn't have, and we had moved across country. I'm from California, we moved to Maryland, so I didn't have a lot of those connections to people, other than like my family who happened to live here. But for me, I started my blog, I started my Facebook community, and it was a way to really connect with other moms who were sort of experiencing a lot of the things that I was experiencing at that time, so I didn't feel quite so lonely. And another thing that I started doing was I went to, like, signed up for those Mommy and Me classes, and I'll be honest, lots of them weren't a fit, but I went through a number of them, but then I was able to connect with a few women that were in the same phase of motherhood with me that I am still friends with today, like, 15 years later, so.
Truth on not fitting into all of the mommy groups. So that's exactly what happened to me too, and that is how ClarendonMoms.com was born. I used to like be very social before the kids were born, and I really love connecting with other people and kind of being the conduit between like them and having fun. And when I had my first child, I was isolated. I moved from DC to Arlington, Virginia, and I couldn't find my tribe. So I decided to start a blog and build a tribe just like Amanda did, and I'm so happy that I did so. I was able to connect moms to wellness classes, yoga classes, sports, training, all sorts of things, just so that they could make a connection with each other, people of the same interest. And so that lives on today, 8 years later, where I'm still hosting events for moms to connect with one another. The second thing I want to say is definitely encourage breaks, because honestly, when we come from a generation of moms who do it all, they're housekeepers, they're chefs, they're hairstylists, they're nurses, they do everything, and you have to outsource some of that. There's no way I can do not even like 100 of the things that my mom did. There's no way. So I can do a couple, and the rest have to be outsourced. I outsource my house cleaning. On occasion, I'll get those, the meals that you can just heat and eat. But I just feel like you really have to put an emphasis on taking a break and getting outsourced, or outsourcing things for help. You can't do it all.
Yeah, I want to weigh in on something Angelica said, because I noted a lot of moms, like, they feel some guilt with that. Like,
Always.
I can't do everything, or they don't want to be, like, they don't want their friends to find out that they're outsourcing things. Like, get over that, because
they do. They don't want to. They don't want to let you know. They think
Right.
it's a big secret, because we have that guilt if we can't do it. Like, oh yeah, no, I cleaned my house.
No.
My
Right.
husband thinks a magic
I
fairy
hired a
came in, and I'm
cleaner.
like, oh no, like you have to do like a 3-hour pre-clean before they even get
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think, I have no shame. I hire a cleaner because it's just a lot, and I'm just not going to feel guilty about that. But I think one thing we can all agree on, health, being healthy is actually an active practice, where it just involves all the little decisions you make throughout the day, and that's, teaching your kids healthy practices. I love what you said, eating till you're full, not when you're empty, not when you're what?
Plate's empty.
Plate's empty, right. So I think like that just takes everyday practice, and that's what being a well woman is all about. And like I said, well women raise well children. So thank you, ladies, so much. Guys shared so much great information, and we hope that everyone watching will love to hear your feedback, but we hope that you learned so much from Angelica and Amanda. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.